Hello and welcome to today's video. So this time we're going to be taking a look through penguins from my collection, numbered 1100 up to about 1250. Now, unlike the first 1000 penguins, I've got nowhere near a comprehensive collection of the later books than I do of the earlier ones. So what we'll look at is just the books that actually are in my collection. And there's some really good ones in this particular run, and we really start to see Penguin introduce the pictorial covers like much of their competition, and there's some really nice ones included in this particular batch. So that's what we're going to be having a look at today. So sit back, relax, and let's get to it. Okay then, so we start off with this one, which is 1104. The Wheel Spins. Evelyn Waugh. Now this one's also a Crime Club choice, and I really like these. They were published by Penguin in a celebration of the Collins Crime Club's 25th anniversary. And they did a representative book by all the main sort of crime authors of the time. Nicholas Blake, Agatha Christie, Maggio Marsh, Philip MacDonald. Pretty cool, eh? That's a really nice copy of that one as well. And this one was published in 1955. So 1104, 1955, and that is where we're going to start today. Now, as I said in the introduction, I don't have anything like a full run of these books, so I'm just going to show you what I have got in my collection, but do be mindful that there's lots missing. Okay, so 1112 is The African Queen, C.S. Forester, one of my favourite authors. And by now, a lot of the Penguin books have got like a little sort of black and white vignette on the front jacket. It does get more elaborate as time goes on, as we'll see. But this was part of a 10. So C.S. Forester was another one of those authors that got treated to 10 books all published by Penguin at the same time. So this is 1113, Flying Colours. So Hornblower 1. And I really like these editions. I remember reading them as a kid. My dad had all the Hornblowers in Penguin, a couple in Pan as well, which Penguin didn't have. 1114 is A Ship of the Line. .1115 is Mr. Midshipman Hornblower. There he is walking the main sail brace, as I recall. .1115. Oh, it's another copy of Mr. Midshipman. That's because I love him so much. I've got reading copies in here as well. 1116 is The Commodore. Bit Browning on that one, but we won't mind. 1117 is The General. This is a First World War story, as I recall, this one. .1118, Brown on Resolution. Now this time the guy who's done the little vignettes, Robin Jacks, he gets a cover credit there. They've left his name on, which seems only fair, doesn't it? So it's 1118. 1119 is Death to the French. Let's square these boys up. So it was 1119. So 1120 then, Elephant Bill, J.H. Williams. I think he was quite famous, this guy. Yeah, he did a couple of books for Penguin. I think he was a bit like a sort of David Attenborough chap, but in the world of elephants, from what I recall. 1124, a crime one here, The Voice of the Corpse, Max Murray. That's 1124. 1128, Diamonds for Moscow. 1129 What's this one? A John Buckham, 1135. John McNabb. Another little illustration on the front. Not one that I recognise actually of his. (1139). Earl Stanley Gardner. The Case of the Half-Wakened Wife. So she was half-wakened, eh? And then no doubt brutally murdered or something like that. On to 1956 now. 1140. The Short Weekend. Short Weekend and Short Book. Just over 100 pages. That's quite a thin little one. T.S. Strachan. 1141. The Pajama Game. With a cover by Peter Arno, who was like a cartoonist. The original book of the famous musical hit. So didn't this become a film at one point, The Pajama Game? In fact, was it a Marilyn Monroe movie? I know they did the tie-in to The Misfits, which was a Marilyn Monroe film. In fact, I think her last movie, but this is a lot earlier. Yeah, I think it did become a film, that particular one. So that's 1141. 1144, James Joyce. This time it's Dubliners. I have a feeling this is the first time we see James Joyce in the Penguin list. I believe Alan Lane published Ulysses when he was at the Bodley Head prior to starting Penguin. That's quite a rare book, as you can imagine. Ulysses did eventually get published as Penguin number 3000 in the mid-60s. 1147 then is The American Gun Mystery by Ellery Queen. Nice copy of that one. And some of these crime ones from this sort of period, it doesn't matter who the author is, although it's good if it's a more well-known one, but you can pretty much pick any one of them up and just have a really good time reading it without needing to spend hours choosing which one to read. I just think they're so good. It's just a great period in Penguin crime history, in my opinion. 1148 then, so this does involve actually a little triple of Ellery Queen. In fact, I don't know if he was treated to a 5, possibly. Like some, instead of a 10, I think he might have got given a 5. Sometimes it says at the start. It doesn't in this particular, but there's the French Powder Mystery. That's 1148 by Ellery Queen. And we've got one more here, which is 1151, which is the Dutch Shoe Mystery. So I'm certain it must have been, he must have been given a 5 in this particular instance. Then we've got 1160, which is The Egg and I, Betty MacDonald. Looks like most of the fiction ones now have got a little illustration on, but the crime ones are remaining plain covered for the time being. 1161 then, The Sunshine Corpse, Max Murray. This is 1164, Below Suspicion, John Dickson Carr. Good stuff. 1164. 1165, Love for Lydia, H.E. Bates. Another early H.E. Bates book. I don't know, it might be his first one. It does ring a bell. Maybe it was just his first one in Penguin, I can't remember. 1167 then, John Bingham, My Name is Michael Sibley. 1168 is Joy and Josephine, Monica Dickens. Big thick one, that. So you notice a lot of these are not exactly high-grade copies, and that's because almost all of these that you see here, almost without exception, have been found out in the wild on my normal sort of book adventures. I've been out there, over the years. I've done boot sales, and I've been to secondhand bookshops and jumble sales. And post 1000, I've not really bought any off dealers. It's just what I've ended up picking up over the years in collections and what have you. So that's why in a lot of cases they're not really like top-notch collectible copies, but they're certainly, they're part of my Penguin collection. They fill a gap, shall we say, and it's all part of the fun. 1170 is a PG Wodehouse, the first of those we've seen today. Pigs Have Wings. And Penguin have started ramping up the publication of Wodehouse at this point. 1171 then is The Mating Season. And I believe this is also a Wodehouse 5. 1172 is Laughing Gas. I do really like Wodehouse. I'm not overly keen on these sort of simplistic illustrations, which they did through, well, for years and years. 1173, Very Good Jeeves. And 1174 is Carry On Jeeves, which is the Wodehouse 5 that they published there. 1176 is Cork in Bottle by MacDonald Hastings. 1181, Madame de Pompadour, Nancy Mitford. Yeah, she's got her fans, that's for certain. Yeah, famous for loving a cold climate. I think that was probably her most famous book, wasn't it? 1185, great one this, Selected Essays of George Orwell. Includes Shooting an Elephant, which if you've never read that short story, it really is quite something. Really sort of memorable. Orwell himself was a brilliant essayist, and well, they're brilliant. This is really, really good. That's one of the highlights of what we've seen today. Another great one, this. I love this book. 1187, so The Great Escapes. I'm a big fan of World War II and even World War I escape stories. This one, you see, it's signed by Abram Games. He designed this particular cover, and it was part of a series that Games, in fact, they're known to collectors as the Games' covers. There's about 30, 32, something like that. I'm pretty sure I've got them all now, so I'm going to pull them all together for a video just on these Games covers. But this is one of my favourites, where he's obviously tunnelled out like that, going away from the Nazis with the swastika there, but in the line of fire, but under the searchlight. There's a lot going on there in that particular cover. I do really, really like the Abram Games jackets, and we've got a few more to see of those because this was their sort of period. 1188 then is Peter Wildblood Against the Law. A first-hand account of what it means to be a homosexual and to be tried in a controversial case and imprisoned. So, of course, let's have a look at when this was published. This would have been controversial in its day. 1957, yeah, so very much quite topical that at its time. But it was publications like this that helped, I think, long term, getting those sorts of things out into the open a bit more. 1189 then is Evan Evans, The Song of the Whip, which is a Western. Penguin, another one by Abram Games. Penguin didn't do many Westerns. I think at this point, Westerns were all over TV. Pam were doing them, great guns with them. So I guess they thought we better publish a couple. Here's another one, which I actually read this one, Montana Rides. It was pretty good, but because of when it was written, I think it was published quite early. Was it in the 1930s, 1933. The actual language in it is, well, by today's standards, almost 90 years later, you just wouldn't put up for it. The way that, some of the, shall we say, the characters in the Old South or Deep South are treated, not very nice. This one's an absolute beauty, and I wish I had a better copy of it. It's another one from the Games series. It's 1195, Murder is Easy. And yeah, this one's got a crease down the spine there. The artist is Godcell. Yeah, this was the only Christie, I believe, that got the treatment, and it's very, very nice. I like it. But when you think 1957, so you would have had the Christies from Penguin, the Christies from Pan, and the Christies from Fontana. She was all over the place, and everyone was competing for the Agatha Christie business, I suppose. 11.97 then, Spanish Raggle Taggle. Walter Starkey, 4 shillings. That was quite expensive, but also quite a sizable book. Yeah. It says 1961, so we appear to have jumped forward a little bit. That was still the first print. This is 1198, The Greek Coffin Mystery, another Ellery Queen. And this one, 1957. So yeah, that one, although it's a first print and they used the number, it got published a few years later. And that happened quite a bit. Penguin realised, for whatever reason, that got held up, or the number didn't get used, so they went back to reuse the number. So that's why it's a little bit out of place. Whereas this one, 1198, this is more back in the series. So 1200 then, The Girl on the Via Flaminia, Alfred Hayes. Quite a nice sort of tight copy of that one. And this, for me, is personally is like the dream period for Penguin, in that the books are just, they're perfect. They're so clear. I love the layout of them. They're easy to hold. They're just, this to me is paperback perfection. Absolutely perfect. I really, really love this period in Penguin's history. 1207, Take These Men. So it's been a while since we've seen a photograph on the cover. The Campaign of the Desert Rats from 1940 to 1943 by Cyril Jolly. So Penguin doing a Second World War memoir. They certainly didn't do a lot of those, but they did a few. 1210 is The Bad Seed, William March. And these plain crime ones are starting to look a bit dated now, aren't they? But I guess it was such a recognisable brand, they just didn't want to tinker with it. 1212, Scotland Yard. That's nice, isn't it, with the thumbprint on the front. Sir Harold Scott. So I'm guessing this is true crime, another true crime one, which did seem to be popular with Penguin. 1957 again. Really, really nice copy of that one. That's good news. Oh, and in fact, that's actually quite funny. So 1212, the series number, I believe that used to be the number if you wanted to phone Scotland Yard. You called 1212. Not like today where you call 999. Back in the 50s, you called 1212 and you got through to them. So that's why Scotland Yard was given that number. Another really great one here. The Prevalence of Witches. And another great, great cover by Abram Games. Really good stuff. Sort of, well, it's almost like a kaleidoscope affair, isn't it? Got to admit, I've not read the books. I don't really know what it's about, but I'm assuming it ties into the novel. What a shame they didn't do more than the 30-odd that they did, but the ones that they did, I think, are great. In fact, the very next book is definitely one of my highlights from the Abram Games series, and it's this one. And once again, I wish I had a better copy of it. The Tiger in the Smoke. Look at that. It's just a cast in the shadow there of like a tiger or saber-toothed tiger. It's actually a guy with a dagger. What an evocative cover that is. And yeah, as I said, I just wish I had a really nice mint one of that. I got this one in a second-hand market, and I had to barter the guy down from a £5 to about £3, which I didn't mind paying because I knew it was one I didn't have. 1217 is, I believe, the first Penguin cartoon book that we've seen since we've been covering these, and this is the Penguin Peter Arno. This is in regular format, as you'll see, but later ones came in B format. So I must try and remember to check my B format ones before I pull out each 100 or so, 150 penguins. But there we are. That's the first one. There he is, Peter Arno. And you'll find we've got quite a few of these cartoon books to come. I've got loads of them, and I love them. I really, really do. 1218 then is The Nightlife of the Gods, a magical frolic, Thorne Smith. Great stuff. Oh, look at that. Bit of dust come off that one. Another Games cover, 1220. Whiskey Galore, Compton Mackenzie, Tatum. Now, I don't think this is the first, because it was 57. Some of the games covers only came out on the reprint of a book rather than the first edition. So we need to keep a little eye out for that. 1222 is May Gray's Mistake. Another Simenon. Really like the Simenon books. I've read loads of them. Probably about half of them, I think, now I've read. Gerald Durrell. Another great author, one of my favourites. 1228 then. The Overloaded Ark. These are in the cerise colours, which we haven't seen for a while, but they're sort of listed as like travel and adventure. 1230 is Peter Main, The Alleys of Marrakesh. And nowadays, some sort of illustration on the front is almost normal, isn't it? Great one here. 1233, I think it is, The Case of the Haunted Husband. Another Earl Stanley Gardner. Very nice with the keys there. I mean, these must have looked great on the shelf. All those Abram Games ones in all together, 1957. 1231 that was. Here's a groovy one. I had this one for a while. 1236, The Big Heat. It's another Games cover by McKay. I think the crime ones look brilliant in that series. I really do. 1237, The Mask of Glass. Holly Roth. Thin little one there. 1238, Venture to the Interior, Lawrence van der Post. Another one in that great series, a travel and adventure one. I think it's the only travel and adventure one in there. Oh, I'm treating you today with all these beautiful covers. 1239, an Earl Stanley Gardner, The DA Holds a Candle. 1242, The Devil in Velvet. John Dixon Carr, cover by Mackay. Just a couple more. 1236, or is it 1246? The Case of the Drowning Duck. Earl Stanley Gardner again. And the last one we'll look at today, closing out this particular run, is 1248, which is the Penguin edition of Catcher in the Rye. Another great classic Penguin book. This one, first published by Penguin, 1958. There we are. And that certainly is a classic one to end it on. So there you go. I hope you enjoyed today's video. If you have, don't forget to give it a thumbs up. Do please consider subscribing if you've not already for regular vintage Penguin paperback content. And I shall look forward to seeing you again very soon. Bye.